Hey gamers, Blindy here. It's March 2025 and my 20th game review is Ori and the Blind Forest. As I play through games in my backlog, I try to share my thoughts with you, and if you have thoughts you want to share with me, leave them in the comments. A small bit of clarification before I go any further. I played the definitive edition of Ori and the Blind Forest, which is what's available on Steam. The definitive edition adds some new areas and abilities, but, to be perfectly honest, I didn't check to see which ones were new, so don't hold it against me for not knowing. At this point, this game is 10 years old. Ori and the Blind Forest released on March 11th, 2015, and was developed by Austrian game studio Moon Studios. Moon Studios is also known for their sequel, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and their more recent game, No Rest for the Wicked. And Ori and the Blind Forest released on the Xbox One and Windows, and later released for the Nintendo Switch. I played the version available on Steam on my LCD Steam Deck, and it's affordable if you're looking to get a copy for yourself. The standard price is $25 Canadian, but you'll frequently see it on sale for 80% off, so you can get it for about $5 if you're patient. And besides being cheap, it's also a small game. You're recommended to have 8 gigs available, and my install was around 7.5 gigs. And if you, like me, are playing this game on a Steam Deck, this game is a verified title, and you can expect around an hour and a half worth of battery life playing this game. If critical reviews are anything to go by, odds state that you'll probably like this game. Metacritic has this game in the high 80s, and Steam is up to a 94% approval rating based on 48,000 reviews. And the ESRB thinks this is a pretty family-friendly game. It's rated E for everyone, with its only thing worth noting is mild cartoon violence. I assume that is just a categorization, since this game doesn't feel cartoony at all. How Long to Beat says you should set aside around 9 or so hours to complete this game. I took around 9.5, and that was with a little adventuring once I had some skills to backtrack. Before I continue on from this point forward, I'll let you know I'll try not to show any spoilers, but I won't guarantee anything. There are some things I'll need to discuss for you to understand this game, but it may cross over into spoiler territory for some. So this is your warning, potential spoilers are ahead. The story follows Ori, and it feels like I didn't need to say this sentence. Before the game kicks off, you learn quite a bit that sets off the events that lead you to your adventure. Ori, as a little spirit, falls from the spirit tree. The spirit tree shines a bright light to search for her, but she ends up being found by Naru, a benevolent Baymax-style character that takes care of her and helps her grow. But we also see that the giant crow Kuro steals the core from the spirit tree. That causes the surrounding forest to slowly fade and die, meaning the food Naru picks from the trees die as well. In a moment of self-sacrifice, instead of eating his last fruit, he gives it to Ori, and he passes away. As you play the game, gain skills and experience more of the world, more of the story gets revealed, and you start to understand the reasons for why Kuro removed the core and the actions of the other characters as well. I could go into more detail, but that's all the prologue stuff, and I think this game is one worth experiencing for the story. I don't want to ruin anything for anyone, so I'll hold back on the rest of the story. When you first start, this game may not seem like it, but it is certainly a Metroidvania. If you're unfamiliar with the genre, usually, but not always, it's a 2D platforming style game. You start in a small area, and as you explore, you gain skills and unlock further areas that open up more of the map. Once a new region is opened up, you're usually free to explore the expanded map, with previous areas often holding more explorable spots with newly unlocked skills. And as that goes, Ori and the Blind Forest is prototypical. It follows a very expected path for Metroidvanias. Early on, you'll gain skills like double jump or wall jump, but later on you'll gain more unique skills that may not be so common in similar games. I found the most unique part of this game was the shooting. Instead of projectiles that fire straight, you send out projectiles that kind of seek enemies. It's cool that you could be out of sight from an enemy, yet still attack them. and you don't have to stress about aiming. All you have to do is stay alive while you mash the attack button. So with that in mind, most of the enemies are actually quite easy, with one issue that I'll talk about later. Now, of course, it gets a bit more complicated with multiple enemies on screen, but that's to be expected. In many ways, this game is actually pretty easy. Talking about pretty, this game is really beautiful too. How's that for a segue? That's the premium content you've paid for. And since none of you paid for any part of this video, well, you get what you paid for. But seriously, this game is pretty stunning. Environments, lighting, animations, and all that. You can really sense the passion and care the team took with this game. Okay, that sounded a bit gushy, but you get it. Even the story felt like the team was fully invested in it. It starts you off with its emotional hook, and you get little snippets as you progress. And each time, there's more to care about. I didn't find myself wanting to skip any cutscenes. I didn't want to just get to the gameplay. I enjoyed finding out more about this world and what caused it to fall apart, and what these characters did, and what needs to happen to make things right again. The story was a hallmark of this game, and I suspect a lot of the love people have for this game comes from the fact that the story plays a balanced part of the game, rather than just a backdrop. And as the game kicks off, I found that it felt deceivingly easy. You can't jump very high, you can't go very far, and the few enemies you have are dispatched quite easily. But that changes. Some areas are a bit unforgiving. And again, the enemies can be more challenging, but not to the point that they were the reason I couldn't progress. Usually, the most challenging parts to this game were the platforming sections. It has spots of precision platforming that can really test your skills. You might have brambles that will take you out with one hit, or laser things that will take you out with one hit, or moving blocks that will take you out with one hit. Until you're familiar with the layout of an area, you might struggle for a while as you learn how to move forward. Perhaps it's a new skill you need to use, or maybe you're taking the wrong path, or maybe it's actually an area that needs another skill to fully explore, and you're just early. It's interesting because Microsoft was worried that this game was too hard as Moon Studios was working on it. And in some ways, yeah, it's hard, but it's not really hard. It may sound weird because it certainly is difficult to convey, but most of this game is easy, except for the hard parts. You know what? I'm going to quit trying. I just sound ridiculous. Just know that I had over 200 deaths, but most of that was platforming. But not all of them were. Some enemies definitely killed me way more often than I'd like to admit. But here is where I'd like to point out one of the biggest faults this game has in my eyes. Some enemies have attacks that are nearly impossible to see. I hope what I have on screen is a good representation of it. With so much happening on screen, their attacks often feel like they disappear. It can certainly be hard to keep track of everything on screen when you have multiple enemies that fire multiple projectiles each, on top of your projectiles as well. It's beautiful, chaotic, and at times downright frustrating. And then later you realize you shouldn't have been there anyway. But let's contrast that with probably the best feature in the game. The save system is so cool. You can save anywhere you are safe, but you can't just spam the save button. You have to wait for a meter to fill up before you can reactivate it. By holding the B button on the Steam Deck, you create a soul link, a spot in the world where you can revisit and save at any time. At a soul link location, you can also upgrade your learned abilities. And when you push onward, you can create a new soul link, replacing your previous one. So you're able to save nearly wherever, but you always have a safe spot to return to. Really cool system. And depending on the type of player you are, you may or may not appreciate it, but this game has no boss fights. You may not even realize it when you're playing. All your challenges are environmental. I really enjoy that it handles gameplay this way. You're always maintaining the same gameplay. It's not about the enemies, it's about the world, and it feels like a good choice by the devs. And I think that kind of wraps up my thoughts on this game. It feels like a short review, but when it comes down to it, it's kind of a short game. As you might expect, I would recommend this game for most players. This game will challenge your skills, but it's not exceptionally hard. Everyone will be able to manage to play it, and given enough patience, I bet pretty much everyone can beat it too. The storytelling is wonderful, and the emotion in each character feels genuine. The visuals are gorgeous. There's very little that could be nitpicked about, and as a gamer, that's all we're really looking for, isn't it? And if you're looking to replay this game, sure, it can be done. You'll fly through it in subsequent runs, but that's going to happen with any Metroidvania. The lack of bosses means there's no boss rush mode, so it'll just be a straight run through if you tackle the game again. Okay, time to score this. I'll give Ori and the Blind Forest a 9 out of 10. 90%. Fantastic all around. Buy it, play it, be happy. Previous to this, I've only played 2 other Metroidvanias, Super Metroid and Islets. I didn't really like Super Metroid, but I loved Islets. In fact, Islets was the 3rd video I reviewed on this channel, so if you'd like to see how that game stacked up to Ori and the Blind Forest, I'd recommend that video. Here's the point where other YouTubers flaunt their Patreon pages, but I wouldn't do anything like that to you. I respect you too much for that. Either that, or I don't have a Patreon page. But if you want to chat with me about, well, anything, join me on Discord. Let's chat about games or whatever else is on your mind. And I'm going to do something new. I'm going to start answering questions from Discord here. If you have a question for me to answer, link is in the description. Spacebowie asks, to an aspiring video content creator, the amount of content you have to wade through to create an interesting video seems daunting. What tips do you have to make it more manageable, and how do you approach the creation of your scripts? Thanks for the question, Spacebowie, and yeah, a good one at that. Like a video game, creating video content is usually done in more than one sitting. Everyone will have their own method of managing their usable content, and you'll need to clean up your recordings. Trim videos to only quality clips, or erase clips that aren't useful. Keep notes as you play. And if you need other content besides video, keep track of that too. I use screenshots, so I need to know where to find that info and get good trimmed pictures. You might need sound clips or movie clips or stuff like that. Keep them in your notes so you won't forget later when it's time to put the video together. As far as the script, that's more free-flowing. I've tried winging it or using notes as a guideline, but I've settled on writing a full script. And I know what topics I want to hit, namely all the stuff at the beginning of my videos. Then I focus on all the aspects of the game that makes me feel anything. Then try to write a connected story that ties everything together. It doesn't come out completely smoothly, and that's fine. It may sound weird to me, but you may not even notice parts that I struggled on. It's one of those situations where practice will make you consistently better. Thanks again for the question, Spaceboy. And thank you, viewer, for hanging out with me today. Without you, I'm just a weirdo talking into a microphone. If you like this video, there's a like button for just this occasion. And if you love this video, there's a subscribe button for that situation as well. Speaking of subscribing, it's my goal to hit 100 subscribers. I mean, not hit 100 subscribers, just attain 100 subscribers. The beatings come later. Alright, take care everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful day.